Welcome to the Dating Kinky Podcast, a cast about love, sex, romance, and kink. Hey, 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 it's that time. Time for another peek into Nookie's inbox. I know you live on the edge of your seats waiting for these, and of course, I have zero desire to disappoint. More though, this is a request from a local connection who has gotten one of these recently and felt her own need to rant. I'm taking up that rant and sharing it with everyone, because I can. Failed messages. The resume copy pasta. Usually, the unsolicited messages I get are short. Too short. Like, hey, short. But some take another direction into wrong and are way too long. Like, not just a few sentences too long, but more like War and Peace too long, and without a good story even. These usually read like a kinky resume and dissertation on what the sender would like done to their body or mind in excruciating detail. You know how little kids sometimes launch into their very own story and can talk for half an hour going back to mention, the unicorn's hair color or the number of butterflies they saw? It's like that. Usually just as rambling and disjointed and just as self-involved. Like, in 514 words of the example I'm sharing today, not a single one is about me or whomever they're writing to. Why would it be? After all, they are talking about themselves and getting what they want out there, loud and clear. Think about 514 words. At an average rate of speech, that's 4 to 5 minutes of conversation without engaging or mentioning the other person at all. 4 to 5 minutes. Here it is. Mistress. I am a slave boy, 24 years old, who has had on and off BDSM experience. I desire to be a no-limit, total slave to my owner. I crave control and domination over me. Saying that, mistress, I also understand that this lifestyle is about my owner and not about me. My pleasure comes from my owner's pleasure. Doesn't matter if it means pain or suffering for me. Mistress, I am really begging for an opportunity. I am ready to share anything and everything you need up front. I am really serious and will really work hard to prove it to you that I can be a good slave to own. Mistress, I really am ready to train my mind to consider you my goddess and program it to function at your commands. Please, goddess, give me one chance. Slave representations. Slave agrees to surrender itself to a lifetime of servitude, suffering, and sacrifice to mistress without limits. Slave agrees to a life of no resistance, no avoidance, no escape, and no release. Slave agrees to immediately and blindly obey each and every order and directive of mistress. Slave agrees that all lifestyle and living condition choices and decisions are solely the province of mistress. Slave agrees that mistress may live wherever she desires and with whomever she selects to join her. Slave agrees to be the wholly owned property and chattel of mistress. Slave agrees to be the wholly owned property and chattel of mistress. All of its assets and possessions are, by extension, the property of mistress. Slave agrees to surrender any and all sought-after assets, property, possessions, or controlling vehicles and documentation, or execute the dissolution, liquidation, or transfer thereof on demand, and not unreasonably delay any such directives. Slave agrees that all behaviors and all activities of slave, physical and mental, are all under the exacting control of mistress, 24/7, 365, no matter how trivial or minor. Slave agrees to give mistress total control over the physical body and condition of slave, including medical, as if it were her own. Slave agrees that mistress may temporarily transfer or share total control authority to whomever she desires for any period of time to other trusted friends, family members, and colleagues, such that their authority during said periods have the equivalent power as mistress. Slave agrees to waive all civil and constitutional rights and to indemnify mistress against any and all losses, damages, and suffering it incurs during its lifetime of servitude. Slave agrees to agree to and sign any and all documents, agreeing to any and all conditions and terms that mistress desires in order to compel, increase, or restrict any behaviors or freedoms that slave may legally enjoy before the execution of said new agreements, and the documents that memorialize them, power of attorney, marriage, adoption, and guardianship, and enhanced servitude contracts are examples of documents that increase control of mistress over slave. Slave agrees that mistress may bring to bear any and all behaviors, methods of influence or persuasion, physical, mental, or emotional, to achieve the compliance and comportment she desires of slave. And this is out of the blue, with no preamble, no request for more information. What the fudge sickles am I supposed to do with that? In the case I'm referring to, I responded in part. And lastly, anyone who sends me a bunch of copy-pasted crap about what they and I will do in a relationship is automatically disqualified from a relationship with me. You're simply doing everything wrong. Maybe they learned something. I doubt it. Let me break this down. A good first message will contain the following elements: introduction, interest, invitation, potential connection, and respect. Most have a lot of introduction and interest, and almost none of the rest. For example, if there were potential connection, they might say something about my interests because they read my profile, and how they share something in common with me. If there were respect, they would write to me, not copy-paste a slew of content and send it to everyone who made them feel tingly in their goodie bits. And an invitation would mean including something that invited me to respond, a question about something we both have an interest in, or about something they found fascinating about my profile. Instead, they send me a wall of text and leave me pretty much nothing to reply positively to, even if I wanted to. And I don't. Ever. Ew. I really don't know where people get the idea that sending a tome of epic proportions, all about their sexual fantasies, will get them what they want. But as often as it happens, I kind of feel like there's some weird $47 how to pick up DOMs on the interwebs PDF floating out there that convinces them to do just that. Because I can't fathom why anyone would put that much effort into typing about themselves, send it to many multiples of people, and think that it would work. Maybe I'm just not creative enough. What do you think? Have you ever received one of these? How did it work for you? How does it make you feel, if anything? Have you ever sent one of these? What were your thoughts and motivations? Do you still send them? Do they ever work? Thank you for joining me today. If you loved this episode, please share it with others who would enjoy it. And please do join me on our new apps available in the Google Play and Apple App Stores. Dating Kinky. It's built by Kinksters, for Kinksters, poly, queer, trans folk, and anyone not quite vanilla, and it's free. Find me on FetLife as Nookie Notes, and on Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, Facebook, and Medium as Dating Kinky. We're on Instagram as Dating Kinky Official, all one word. Also, find me on the new Moan app in beta for iPhone. I'm Miss Nookie there. TheMonapp.com. Have a kinky day, and I'll catch you next episode.